welcome back to another episode of Tech Ascent, the show where we dive into the trends, strategies, and success stories that are reshaping the tech landscape as we know it today. I'm your host, Oliver Klingane, and today we're joined by another great guest. We're joined by Sri, the co-founder and CEO at Factors.ai. Sri, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for hosting me, Oliver, and very happy to be here, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you on. Would you mind just kicking us off, telling us a little bit about yourself and what you guys
Yes.
do at Factors AI?
Yeah. Uh, Sri here from Factors.ai. I am one of the co-founders and CEO. We are a three-member founding team. My co-founder, Aravind, was my college classmate, later a early Google engineer. And this is his second startup. His first startup, he started up and sold to Freshworks that became FreshChat. Praveen, my other co-founder who heads product at Factors.ai, was my colleague at InMobi, which is a mobile ad tech company, and incidentally, India's first unicorn. And both of us had known each other for 7 years. And all three of us got together in mid 2020 around COVID, the first wave of COVID, to start up with Factors.ai. Factors at a very simple level helps B2B companies drive more pipeline and revenue from their ads and GTM spends. That's at the primary level what we do. And in a little more granular level, what we do is we see the whole entire buyer journey, right from your website, your CRM, G2 reviews, LinkedIn ad channels, LinkedIn organic, and all the way to third party intent. Combine all this data to identify which companies are most likely to convert with AI and activate them using agents to run campaigns on LinkedIn ads, Google ads, and most importantly, also into LinkedIn automation and email automation so that you convert intent into pipeline and revenue automatically. And this, when companies use us, they see 25 to 30% increase in pipeline. More importantly, they're able to do that far more efficiently in terms of time and cost saved.
Super powerful and very interesting too. How long
Yeah.
ago did you and your two co-founders kick this business off?
Though we started up in mid 2020, it was the same. By the time we built the product, it took a year or so. And by the time we found our product market fit, it was from early 2024. Over the last 2 years, we have grown by almost 8x. And now we are with 400 paying customers. And we also have a free plan over 800 companies use our product in our free plan.
Hmm, very cool. And as you're kind of navigating that journey of finding your initial product market fit, what sort of challenges did you face and how did you go about solving them?
That's actually a very interesting question. Very few people ask about what happens before you find your product market fit. That's the thing. So, at a primary level, one thing which we understood and hope we had got it a little more earlier is like we started off as a complete analytics and a data platform company. That is like we help companies integrate all their data, build reports, and analyze those reports. This was a very good use case from a product analytics perspective because we saw other large companies like Amplitude, Mixpanel doing very well. And that was our benchmark to say, like, if something like that exists in B2C and B2 mobile apps, which are set up like Amplitude primarily served a lot of mobile app companies for their product analytics, we thought the same thing would also apply for B2B. What we realized is while B2B marketers one, they are very different from product managers. They like to take more action than just analyze reports. Second thing is for also company in terms of what is very important for them in B2B is like primarily to drive sales. In B2C and mobile apps, it's also about user adoption and getting this thing. Revenue will automatically follow because it has a very different kind of conversion dynamics. But in B2B, you have to drive revenue. For that driving revenue, you need to take action directly with the data. And that is where the shift in decisioning also came in like, okay, we can't just be an analytics product. We have to start building agents and the platform to run ads or run action in terms of emails, etc. And that's where the product market fit also happened really well. So we went from somewhere around 25, 30 customers and less than 200K in revenue to almost like $4 million dollars in revenue as where we are now. That's it.
Hmm, nice. So pretty explosive growth.
Yeah.
And with that, it sounds like you've built a strong founding team. You had the relationship dating back to your college classroom. How have
Yeah.
you, because we hear a lot of stories in the tech space. There's always kind of,
Mhm.
you butt heads with co-founders. Some get along super
Yeah.
well and the company scales. How have you kind of navigated that relationship and do you guys specialize in certain things? What's the breakdown of the team and how has it impacted
Yeah.
your success?
One thing, of course, is specialization. I had been a sales and business leader for a very long time. I had built a $120 million plus P&L at InMobi. So I naturally moved into the sales part of the function. And I'm also the co-founder as the CEO as well. I handle administrative, financing, and investing part. Praveen was a product leader at InMobi. So naturally, he went into the being the product leader. Plus, he also handles customer success as well because as a product lead, he wants to be as close to customers as possible. And being a customer success helps him to have the feedback to back into the product in real time as well. That's there. And Aravind has always been a technology leader, both at Google and later in his startup and Freshworks stint. So he built on the technology front and he handled. That's one separation of functionalities in terms of business and investing versus product plus technology that's divided. That's one thing which makes life easy. We respect each other on their fronts. The other thing, as you said, is like knowing each other for a very long time helps. Aravind and I go way long back into college times. And plus, we are also, with age comes a certain level of maturity and able to think forward rather than kind of like small, kind of like short term micro things, such as there. Praveen and I had worked together at InMobi for close to 7 years. We have seen the whole hyper growth at InMobi, right from a fledgling startup to India's first unicorn. Now they're going for an IPO as well. All this helped in terms of maturity and how we actually handle issues. The last thing is also at a very simple level mutual trust. There is no way where I would need to look over my shoulders or think like whether he's actually on top of his job or he's actually saying the right things for the right things. There is no any kind of ego behind the decisions. So that way we are able to always rationalize and actually figure out the best path forward with the constraints. One thing which is very important in a startup level is always there is constraints. Constraints in terms of branding, constraints in terms of funding, constraints in terms of like what the product can do at any point in time because things develop over a period of time. We are not Microsoft or IBM here. So all that maturity in handling those decisions and being rational in terms of taking those decisions helps, and that comes from the underlying trust layer.
Hmm. And trust is a big part, and like you said, any company. And
It's
with
like a
that,
marriage. So yeah.
yeah, of course. And with that, just like marriage, to have trust, you need to have communication. Being a global company with factors, how are you navigating that, and how are you building a culture that's forward thinking, that's kind of self driven?
So one thing is majority of our workforce is in India, and we have 65% of our customers are in US, 20% will be in Europe and other parts of APAC, which is there. So we have a global clientele while the team is based out of India and builds it. One thing which has really helped over the last 10 years is the globalization or in terms of cultural shift. Earlier, you need to be more in office and also in region for you to serve your customers better. That has actually shifted specifically post COVID. And it's a boon for a lot of companies to say that you can actually serve your customers from a different geography. In essence, quite a few like both Atlassian and Canva also do that from Australia, with majority of their customers being in US. That's also an inspiration for companies. And we have also seen companies like Freshworks and quite a few others scaling from India and serving their customers globally. So that's an inspiration. That's something which we're able to manage and do well. The second thing is also is like very clearly building the product for a global audience. It's not something like, though we are building it from India, the practices which we follow both from design, engineering, how things are launched, even communication in terms of your sales material, product material, which is there, we tend to make it as global as possible so that we uh, resonate as to a global audience rather than as a kind of a regional or a parochial company, which is there. And that is something which we have put together into our design and engineering philosophy as early as the day one when we started, and that really helped. And lastly, it's also time shifts, which is there. It's like we understand we're serving the global audience, so we keep very clear time shifts at a customer success level, also in the sales team level, and this thing so that we can serve that very well.
And I'm sure that culture has helped you scale, especially like you said, from day one, you've had that philosophy instilled. So
Yeah.
as you were
So one
kind of
thing is also we are consistently learning as well. So it's not like we have always everything figured out, but it's something which we want to build on.
100%, and it sounds like you've laid the groundwork. When you flip that switch from
Mm,
sub 200K in revenue to now scaling to over 4 million, obviously product
mm,
market fit was a big piece of
yeah.
that. How did you know when it was time to pivot versus when it was time to continue the scale?
So when you start having conversations late night at 3 a.m. with your co-founders, thinking about like, okay, why customers are not happy, why they might churn, why we are not able to add customers as fast as we want to, that's when you know that something is not working and you have to pivot. We were lucky in early days, like we had a great team, we had a great early team also in terms of engineering and product working with us. And also in terms of like funding as well, we got early in 2020 as well. But the key thing is like if you're not able to find that escape velocity, then the market is pretty brutal. They're just going to dump you down in terms of like people are not going to respond to you just because they know you or they're friends with you. The product has to work in this time, and you will be able to very clearly get signals around like, are you able to attract, even if you're spending on ads, are you able to attract demos? How does the conversion from demos into leads, into qualified pipeline, or into revenue? How is the existing customer retention cohort working? What is your, in terms of feedback of customers? Are they using your product on a day-to-day basis? Are they gaining value from your product on a day-to-day basis? More importantly, at a very simple level, is your traffic on your website actually increasing? Is your ideal customer profile traffic on your website continuously increasing? That's something which are all early signals which you can very clearly see whether something is going right or wrong. And the mistakes which people do is like instead of looking at these external signals, people look at internal signals. They say like, okay, if you build the product, customers will come. If you do these things, then customers will come. Actually, no. If your products will always be on a continuous build state and it will have this thing, but at primary level, the core use case or a very small set of things need to be able to immediately resonate for people for them to actually take off. If that doesn't is not there, then it's going to be basically like a kind of like it'll be very hard for you to sell and extend and build on the use cases. And that's where you need to actually sit and rethink like, okay, now I need to pivot or now I need to do something else.
And obviously, you guys help optimize go to market pipeline. Is there one area where you feel you consistently see new clients where your solution kind of fills the gap on? Is there something that people aren't thinking about that maybe they should start thinking about more?
At a very primary level, one huge white spot which we found, we solve for B2B marketing and very specifically in the account-based marketing space. There are large giants in account-based marketing space like Six Sense, Demand-based, and others. They primarily focus on display ads. What we do is we focus on LinkedIn ads. So we have primarily built very clearly for LinkedIn ads, and now we have also extended it to Google ads, which are private walled gardens on their own. But helping B2B companies gain success in LinkedIn ads and Google ads is what we focus on. So if you're a B2B company which is spending on ads and LinkedIn or Google, immediately ability to save 20 to 30% of your ad spend costs is what Factors.ai as a product delivers for you. And that is a very clear niche. There are other parts of the product which will be overlapping with some of our competitors, either on the attribution space or on the account scoring and website engagement space, which is there, analytics space, which is there. But the niche which we have on LinkedIn and Google Ads optimization is something which is very unique in the market. And hence, we are also able to see traction in the customers and retention in customers as well.
Very cool. And that was a great breakdown. But one thing we repeatedly see in the SaaS space and the tech space is there's always a gap when selling solutions about customer awareness, customer education. How do you go about kind of bridging that when you're continuously growing the business, offering new solutions? How do you go about bridging that gap?
So, customer education and customer awareness is a hard problem. And in a sense, it's like people shouldn't just be aware of you as a product, but they should be aware of like what your product solves for. Hence, they'll be able to keep you in mind when they have that problem very clearly. So we want to be in top of the mind of our customers when they think about like my LinkedIn ads need to scale better to generate more revenue. Who do I think of? Or like, okay, my Google ads are plateauing. It's not delivering enough results. So who should I think of? It should be Factors.ai is value the same. And to do this on a consistent basis, which is that what we have tried to perfect is the art of social selling. So social media is one place where like you are able to communicate your message and you are also able to say your message on an updated basis on a weekly and monthly basis. Because as startups, your product evolves every quarter, every not even every quarter, every month. We have a 2 week sprint. Every month there is a new feature which keeps coming out. The only way where like you can keep updating your product marketing material, even your website, but very few people actually come to your website, especially in the LLM era. People are actually looking at summaries right from either a chat GPT or a Gemini or a AAO used within Google, etc. So how do you make them aware? That's where we use LinkedIn as a social selling channel, where we talk about our product updates and including what use cases you solve for, including why customers need to consider us when they have that problem on a consistent basis. So that way, it's like you're always on in like a television ad which keeps running, where you tend to not just be brand aware, but we also make our prospects solution aware in terms of what we solve for, so that they think about us and they come to us and set up a demo with us whenever they have that problem.
It's a good way to go about it, especially with how much noise there is in the
Yeah.
space right now. There's a lot of competition.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not like they are only ones doing it. Our competitors will be doing it. So many other companies. So LinkedIn also becomes noisy. But what you have to do is one is like you have one high frequency channel. Then you also start building your customer PMM material. You do podcasts like this. So podcast is very important for us to communicate, because then when people want deeper discussions about what's happening or other thing, they want to learn through podcasts. Then you also do influencer campaigns. You also do events. You show up on events, on annual events like HubSpot, Inbound, and others. So people see your brand. So they're able to associate the brand with the problem or the social media which they are seeing. Then you also go in market where you are also showing up at events or you meet with clients on a regular basis. Then they're able to put a face to the whole problem and other things. So it's multi-touch in different ways, but you keep adding in so much levels where like people are able to kind of like recognize you as a brand which solves a particular problem and also does it credibly, and hence they build trust over a period of time for you to make it work.
100%. And that's something we've started to install in our clients' businesses. Is we operate on something we refer to as the 7-11-4 framework. So
Mhm.
nowadays, with how much
Nice.
competition there is, you need the average prospect needs 7 hours of engagement with your business to trust enough to buy from you. Ideally, you want
Wow.
that chopped down with videos such as podcasts, clips, any sort of kind of engagement. They need 11 touch points, and then they need to be
Wow.
across 4 different channels. So whether that be email, video, in-person events, phone calls, whatever it may be. That's kind of how you operate and break through the noise. And it sounds like you've built out a very omni-channel approach that's going to be hitting on all of
Oh, that's
those.
a very, very good thing. I'm actually going to use it in one of my both client communication material and others. So, yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, there's also a lot of noise just in the tech space in general. The boom of
Mm.
AI, and it sounds like that started to take off when you started to take off. Similarly, do you think
Yeah.
that's made the competitive landscape more challenging? Do you think it's been a big reason you were able to break through? How have you kind of navigated the growth of your business while that's also such a major trend?
So AI and specifically Gen AI and the agentic transformation is something which is fundamental in the business overall. So it actually adds a totally new layer in terms of what you can do and how productive you can be. So the key thing, what we are able to see is like our customers, either their ability to build reports, ask for details where they can ask for a general request and it can be broken down to very clear SQL or a dashboard or a reporting framework which is there. And that is also something which is happening. And more importantly, getting them to actually access the data and take action on the data, agents are going to really help. That is the primary thing which we are able to see. And that's a layer of transformation saying that people earlier using this product were able to do 20%. Now they're actually able to do 30% or 50%. That is something which we're able to establish. But the way how it actually also helped us and accelerate our growth is the primal thing for the agents is the data and the memory you're able to share. I mean, memory is what makes humans intelligent, and memory about the customer journey data, including what are the touch points which happen in the customer data, what happened at each and every point, including what happened at a campaign level, which campaigns got scaled up, which campaigns got shunted down, which campaigns, how the bids change on a day-to-day basis is the memory which we have. This data, when we are able to feed into LLM models, the agents become far more smarter in a sense. So we are giving a much greater intelligence into agents for them to work. And if you actually look at greatest marketers or even the best salespeople is there, what they actually bring to the table is the memory. Using the memory, they have the intuition, and that way they are able to deliver a better sales pitch or a marketing ad campaign, etc. That is now basically we can democratize it very well with the kind of the memory layer which we have built, and then pushing it to LLMs and agents. So in overall level, the whole agentic transformation which has happened, LLM era, which we see now with ChatGPT and Gemini and Anthropic and others, one makes people far more productive. That's one certain layer. Second, it also makes our product far better because now we are able to share the context and memory which we have into usable actions rather than just being used by humans, which is there. And that is something which is one incredible, which is happening in the time when we are building the company. And second, it also poses up like more totally opens up the market in a massive way for us also. And that's something which we are very uh, kind of lucky and happy to take on.
It's exciting times for sure.
Yes.
And Shri, we've talked a bit about the present, about what you guys are building with Factors. Let's rewind the clock just a little bit. This is one of my favorite questions to ask for founders and CEOs. If there was one thing, one lesson you wish you learned a little earlier in your career, whether it be with Factors or dating back to when you were first getting started, what would that one lesson be?
At a very important level, it's like you should never start building. You should always have this value proposition and the story. You should be able to check the story against your prospects, see how they react, and then start building. What happened and the mistake which we did early start is like we thought like this is the problem which we really like solving, and we started building for that problem, and then tried to force fit that into our customers' use cases, saying that see, I'm solving for this. Will you use this? Rather, it should be like this is what I'm going to talk about. Does this resonate? How do you react to it, how important it is. Based on your reaction and this thing, then I'm going to build for that particular problem which they have and have that niche. That is something which is one at a large level. Second is like find that niche. If I have that specific niche saying that this is something which I'm uniquely doing, and there is a huge amount of search volume for this, so land me here and then I'll expand. That is something which is very important. On the other hand, what we try to do is build something more, far more horizontal, and we try to keep building to keep landing and expanding there. We should have reversed the problem saying that I solve for these very specific niche, so you need me just for this niche. Now take me on.
I like it.
So this is, it'll be a hard or bitter lesson if you do the other way around, which we learned the hard way, and hope the listeners and also the audience don't need to learn it the hard way. They can learn it the easy way.
Hmm. And was that switch, was that lesson, did you learn that when you made that switch a few years ago that took you
We
from
made the switch
200K?
in terms of like what is this thing, and that also helped us actually launch our LinkedIn ad pile and this thing because kept going back to customers and asking like which channels are not working for them, why it's not working, and other this thing. That's when people said like, okay, we think LinkedIn should work very well for us. Intuitively, we feel LinkedIn works, but we are not able to show it with data, and we want to invest more on LinkedIn. That's when we started thinking, okay, LinkedIn is a channel we need to land in because nobody is solving for LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, everyone thinks LinkedIn is an important channel. Hence, this is something, if we create a niche there, we can actually accelerate and go further. That's something which happened.
Yep. Identify the problem and provide the solution.
Yeah. And keep validating it again and again.
Yeah, of course. It's a good way to do
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
And so now, Shri, we've talked a little bit about the past. We've talked about the present. Looking towards the future, what's the goals with Factors? What are you building towards? What's the vision?
So where we are landing into factors is like we have the complete data platform, which is the memory layer, and then the agents which use the memory layer to run your ads. Where we see the future is like factors being an integral part of the marketing team. In a sense, the traditional marketing team is like there'll be CMO, VP, demand generation, campaign managers, marketing managers, content marketers, product marketers, then bunch of analysts, which is there, who use a set of tools and also maybe employ an agency. What we are seeing ourselves in the future is like apart from the team in terms of team members, in terms of campaign manager, marketing managers, factors as a co-pilot comes as part of the team itself. So we actually are a salary member in the team rather than who is expected to drive outcomes and deliver, rather than a tool which is there below the stack, which can be used by the team. And that is the future which we are seeing, and that's what we are building towards with our agents. So, in a sense, our marketing agents and our analytics agents, and including our attribution agents and our ad pilot agents, are basically one of the members of the marketing team, which actually solves for running all the ads and delivering pipeline. like a campaign manager does or an agency does.
I love it. And I think over the past few years, you guys have built a great foundation to keep
Yeah.
scaling. So I think
Yeah.
the future's bright.
Which was better. And it's like there are 25,000 plus B2B companies. The ad spends on B2B companies are increasing. And we are also seeing this to be continuous trend because organic search are declining due to LLMs. People are having to do paid ads to get attention. Eventually, now companies have started spending on CTV ads. They'll also be spending on LinkedIn ads. Sorry, what I would call as LLM ads, which is that. So that's the next thing which we are expecting to happen as well. So in a sense, in terms of ads as being a primary business operating model for so many other companies for them to generate new revenue is going to be there. And being a product which solves for running ads efficiently, we have a huge market TAM to crack into.
No, it's awesome. I'm excited to see where the future takes us, especially in terms of the advertising space where we both operate in. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot coming, a lot to be excited for.
No, that's something which we are excited to. Yeah. Thank you.
And Shri, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a great conversation. I'm sure the audience
Yeah.
appreciates it as well. We shared a ton of great insights about how to find product market fit, how to build a strong culture, then how to essentially find a solution or find a problem and then build out the solution as well. I think there's been a lot of great insights in the show.
Thanks a lot for hosting me, Oliver. And some of the questions also which helped me pause and think, and it also helped me understand my own journey better and also articulate it very well. So thanks a lot for this opportunities. And very happy to be here. And I hope the audience have learned something and hopefully they don't make the same mistakes as I do. And more importantly, uh, kind of build great companies, which is always great for the economy.
100%. No, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And for everybody listening, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving us your time. I'll be sure to tag Shri's LinkedIn down in the description. I'll tag Factors AI website as well. But Shri, is there
Yeah.
anywhere else you'd like people to connect with you on, or are those the main two?
I have email as well. So I'm very active on LinkedIn, but email is Srikrishna at factors.ai, Srikrishna at factors.ai. You can mail me with anything you want.
Perfect. I'll put that down in the description as well. And Shri, one last thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Much obliged. Thank you.